What if I told you over 60% of expats struggle to form deep romantic connections, are 50% more likely to divorce, and more than half report feeling lonely? G'day, my name's Jack, an Aussie expat living in Malaysia. I moved from Sydney to Kuala Lumpur 3 years ago, chasing freedom and adventure. And in this video, you'll learn how it impacted my relationships. Do I miss my family and friends? How about dating? You might think moving countries, finally making enough money, and dating attractive women in Asia will solve all your problems. You might see my nice lifestyle and think I've got it all sorted out. Don't get me wrong, living in Malaysia has been one of the best decisions of my life. But there was one thing I really didn't expect. From feeling intensely lonely despite going on dates every single day of the week, realizing I was just being used for social media or social clout, and questioning what true love even means anymore. I hope my story will give you valuable insights if you're considering moving to Malaysia. Here's what I learned about relationships and myself by moving to Southeast Asia's greatest country. Let's go for a walk. We're going in deep today. Back in late 2021, I was stuck in Sydney, just coming out of 18 months of lockdown. Like many during this time, I felt trapped. Most of my communication with friends was online. We played games and did group calls, but that's not a real social life. I craved connection, adventure, and something real. One decision I regret is not moving back home with my family. My parents are divorced and live in different states, so it would have been a big effort to make the move, especially when the state borders were shut in Australia. You literally couldn't travel within your own country. Fortunately, I could still support myself because I was working online, but I did start to lose clients, and along with that, my motivation. And instead of dealing with that and my emotions in a healthy way, I threw myself into dating. At first it worked. I had 2 girlfriends throughout this period. The first relationship ended up being a disaster. She was Chinese from Shanghai, and despite all the warnings I got, including from her friends, I went along with it for the thrill. One particular memory stands out. In early 2022 for Chinese New Year, her and her friends convinced me that I owed her a fat ang pao just because I was her boyfriend. Of course this isn't true, but at the time I fell for it. Cultural guilt is real. But of course, hindsight is 20/20, and that experience made me more aware of manipulation. Now you can imagine what was going on in this relationship, so instead of being taken advantage of, I moved on to the next. I hit on my gym crush, and it turned out to be the complete opposite experience. I didn't realize or intend on it in first, but it ended up becoming a bit of a sugar mummy type situation. She would spoil me with lavish gifts and crazy experiences. I know this might sound amazing, but I learned very quickly that this killed my masculine drive, and it wasn't what I wanted in life. Let me know if you want to hear more about this story one day, but be careful what you wish for, guys. I ended it just before I decided to move to Malaysia, and at this point I should have realized that I was running from my problems. Moving countries doesn't magically fix your relationship struggles. If anything, it actually makes them more obvious. It forced me to confront my own recurring issues with anxiety, attachment, and self-worth. Even when you're traveling or away from home, remember that you are not alone. My paid partner BetterHelp can connect you with a therapist who can help you find some answers and provide support, no matter where you are. I know going to a therapist can be confronting, especially in Malaysia where it's less accessible, but don't let that stop you. Whether it's dating struggles, loneliness, or expat life in general, you can talk through those difficult questions with someone who's trained to help you find real answers. Here's how it works. You fill out a questionnaire and you get matched with a therapist. And if you don't vibe with them, no worries, you can switch anytime for no cost. BetterHelp carefully makes sure that therapists on the platform are well qualified, and their customer support team is always there for you. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform that you can trust. And how am I going personally? Thanks for asking. Well, frankly, I've been feeling a lot of pressure to keep growing this YouTube channel. It's affecting my work and my personal relationships, so I gave a session with BetterHelp a go. I'm being recognized often in public now, and I know a lot of you look up to me in some way. So I want you to know that going to therapy is a sign of strength, not weakness. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/JackAlderton to get 10% off your first month of therapy. I really hope this helps you just like it helped me. March 2022, I landed in Malaysia and I felt unstoppable. New country, new people, new identity. I had dates lined up with different girls every night. The very first night I got out of the quarantine hotel, a girl came around, picked me up and drove me around the city of Kuala Lumpur. We ended up in a bar in Changkat, and when I stepped out of the bathroom, another girl handed me a napkin with her friend's phone number on it. Guys, I've always done pretty well with women, but this never happened to me in Australia. And here's the truth, it got old really fast. Over the next 6 months, I met many women, but nothing seemed to click. What did click though, was their cameras. I still remember a first date when a girl showed me a photo her friend had taken of me from across the street before we'd even met. This was before I even started YouTube. I felt like an object. People love to talk about how Westerners come to Southeast Asia and take advantage of women, and that might be true. But here I am going, hey, I'm trying to build a life here. And I'm telling you, if you're here for longer than a few months, you'll get sick of casual hookups that go nowhere. Worse than that, some women just wanted a photo for their Instagram. Once they got it, they disappeared. Seriously. Religion is another factor to be very wary of in Malaysia. I have to be careful with what I say here, but honestly, the women that pushed most for with me were also the ones putting themselves and me at the most risk. Do you get my drift? The craziest mistake I made was trusting them, going to a random apartment, getting handcuffed and tied up to a bed, not knowing if I'd make it to the next day. Let me know if you want to hear more about that story so you don't make the same mistakes I did. Sounds kind of exciting, but after months of this, I felt completely isolated. Endless dates, casual hookups, but no real connection. Eventually, I did find a serious relationship and we're still together today. But let me tell you, cultural differences, family expectations, different values, views on marriage, and my ability to live in Malaysia long term make things very complicated. There's a lot going on, so who is my support system throughout all of this? My friends and family back home. I'll tell you, if you're hesitating to move abroad because you don't want to lose your connections back home, don't let that stop you. My parents were even able to visit me in Malaysia, which was amazing. My mum came here first and we had a great time in Kuala Lumpur, but she did struggle with the heat and humidity and she probably won't be back to visit. My dad handled the weather better when he came and I did a full interview with him about his time in Malaysia. What did you think of Malaysia, honestly? Did you feel safe? Did you have any culture shocks? Tell me what you thought of Singapore and which country had better food. So you can watch that here. Unfortunately though, my friend from Sydney has shown almost zero interest in visiting Malaysia, which is a shame, but I do understand it. They just don't know what they're missing out on. Malaysia is so underrated and I'll keep promoting it as a tourist destination no matter what. Luckily, I go back to Australia twice a year to visit family and see my friends at major events. It's not a big deal. Better yet, I've made new friends in Malaysia from all different countries. The company I work at has expats from over 100 different countries, so I've met people from places I'd never even imagined. They see the world differently and it's taught me so much personally and professionally. I've definitely made some connections for life here. I also met some other YouTubers. I team up again with Daryl Solis to show him around Bukit Bintang.
All right, Jack, what have we got ourselves into?
Me, Tariq.
And in this video, I'm here with Daryl Solis from the UK.
How you doing, Jack? It's good to be here.
I can't understate the importance of finding people with similar interests, hobbies, and mindsets with you. It will change your life and certainly your relationships. So I encourage you right now to reach out to someone you'd like to connect with. Send that message. They might just reply to you and kick off a great friendship. If you made it this far, you must really connect with this. Moving abroad, especially to Malaysia, changes your life and your relationships. It will force you to ask questions about who you are, what you want, and what love, family, and friendships really mean. If you're thinking of making the move or struggling with relationships, I highly recommend getting help, talking to someone, and learning from those who've been through it themselves. So would I do it all again? Absolutely. Subscribe for more videos about life in Malaysia, and I'll see you in the next one.